Saturday, unusually for me, October the 19th I believe it is, and I'm down in West Berkshire, one of my favourite areas in the southeast, about to undertake a Pangbourne Circular via Goring, which takes us through Oxfordshire mainly. It's a cracking day, which is why I've had to wait 2 weeks approximately to do the walk, or to do a walk, because the weather's been a bit damp, to say the least. I might be about 2 weeks too early to capture any autumn colour, but as you can see on the hill there is some starting to appear. This will be predominantly beech territory on chalk. As I say, the main thing is it's a lovely day thus far. Some cloud, which according to the Met could persist until about 3 o'clock. So fingers crossed. It's about 12.5 miles I'm planning on doing today, because I plan to do the extension. Sunset's about 6, so this is possibly my last longer walk before the clocks go back next weekend, and then we're back into dismal SAD territory. Anyway, let's crack on. It's about 12:05 now. So as I say, about 6 hours of walking to be done. I should just about get it done before the sun sets. Immediately opposite the station, take the road opposite the wharf. First sighting of the River Pang today. Obviously the town of Pangbourne is either named after the River Pang or vice versa. And Bourne in this area means, from what I've read, a small sort of valley really. In fact, that larger river that I've just walked past on my left is the Thames, and a small Pang tributary flows into it. Crossing over the Thames at this Whitchurch Bridge. All this is self-explanatory, filmed it before. Whitchurch Bridge. There's the toll prices. So there's the Chilterns. As I turn left here along the Thames Path. So here we are, Whitchurch Church. Not sure of the name yet, but I'll get it. Starting to get decidedly rural now, away from all the hubbub. And there was certainly plenty of that this morning on the trains coming through London. Ramonas and global warming activists. God, what a place London's become. It's actually St Mary the Virgin. That clock has just recently been repaired, so is now accurate, so I'm told. No protesters up on the scaffolding, I see.
I hope not.
Information panel here about whitchurch-on-Thames, which I have recorded before on a Pangbourne walk, which I haven't been here. I noticed from my YouTube site, I haven't been here for 7 years, nearly. January 2013 I think it was. So let's see if I can remember anything. Passing the Greyhound pub. Passing Manor Road on my right there. In fact, it's Hardwick Road, not Manor. Ignore this turning to the left. Hartslock Bridleway. That's the return leg, apparently. Just outside the entrance to Foxglove Manor, there's the memorial referred to in the text. What must these men be thinking? They fought for what? Absolutely outrageous what's going on at the moment. Their memories are lost, really. All of the good that they did for this country. Now following the path to Cold Harbour through classic beechwood initially, and as you can see there's plenty of leaves on the ground, so I might capture some autumn colour. This road on my right is pretty busy, certainly on a Saturday. This mixed woodland, which also contains ash, I notice, is Stonycroft Plantation. We're walking alongside it with the overhead pylon next to us on the right. Plenty of kites around here, as you'd probably guess. A few buzzards amongst them as well. They do have a similar cry, but it is possible to distinguish between the two. The mewing sound that they make. Must admit I've occasionally mixed them up, but there is a difference if you listen carefully. I think the kites is slightly higher pitched. Decent vista on my left there, which I can't get a proper picture of because of these conifers. Some nice autumnal colours creeping in though. Some nice, I'm guessing that's a fungus. Could be a mushroom, I'm not sure. Probably a mushroom actually. If anyone can tell me what that is. That's one of those pathetic kissing gates that you can't get through with your day sack on your back. Yes, as the text mentions, there's a couple of hand-painted footpath markers here that do help tracking the correct route. Big beast of a bull over there, of the Frisian variety I think, all on his lonesome, luckily in a different field to me. Now on the Chiltern Way, the extension of which can be found up near me in Hertfordshire, entering appropriately named beech wood. Lovely dense woodland it is as well. No manicuring in here, all native. Now at this juncture you come to this kissing gate. The main route is following the fence. The extension, which I'm going to take, is right here. Very nice Pet's graveyard there. God rest your souls, Bertie and Jolly. Now about to cross over this arable field, and very nicely the farmer has marked out the path. Well done. Okay, I'll just add at this point, having crossed that field, that the Sun Inn, the very early lunchtime stop, is a 900 metre deviation to the right up that lane, so that's 1800 metres in total. Well, that's lucky. I'm walking through their field, but luckily they're a good half mile or so away from me, the other side of it. But they've clocked me. smell me. You come out opposite Cold Harbour Farm. For a little bit of peaceful lane walking, and so far so good with the weather. The cloud hasn't expanded as I was expecting it to. It's the Met Office being wrong again, only 2 hours prior to me looking at it. So yeah, on this occasion they're favourably wrong, in my favour. Take the left here by Fursmore Cottage as indicated. In fact, it was Laurel Cottage, not Fursmore. Massive chunk of fungus there on this tree stump, and I do seem to remember this stretch. Book 1 walk, I believe. And of course, sign of the times, this property's now got an electric charger, which it wouldn't have done 7 years ago. That's the thing about these walks, they are in a way social history happening. That's the way I look at them anyway, because things continuously change, and it's change that this country doesn't seem to like. Now on a gentle descent, and one thing I would say about this walk is that it's a decent one to do after rain, because there's a fair amount of lane walking, and it's not too muddy thus far. I might eat my words later, let's see. A bit more woodland walking, very pleasant wood it is as well. Mix of beech, oak, ash and oak. Yeah, lovely, all native species. Now that's interesting, I wonder what all that white stuff is. At this four-way junction, continue downhill going left. Even this bridleway isn't too muddy, and this is after rain that we've had for the last week or so. It's because of the flint and chalk underneath, I guess, runs away. Plenty of work going on here at Bottom House Farm. Solar panels, one of those eco-friendly boilers, I can't remember what you call them, and plenty of mud at the moment, with an extension being built here making use of outside quarters and an owl friendly bird box. Brilliant. Things have definitely moved on since the days of that old water pump. That's one for the walking club to look out for in the future. Looks like it's going to be a very nice property with a few kites flying overhead there. Can't capture them. And in fact I do recall walking this stretch before as well, many years ago. It's starting to vaguely come back to me now. Yeah, I wonder what they're shooting. Pigeons and pheasants, no doubt. Lots of timber work going on in Stapnell's plantation, referred to in the text. Bit of beechwood being thinned out. All sad to see. At this three-way path junction, continue left up into the wood. Great chalkwood, apparently. Loving this, all this woodland walking. Ignore the Chiltern Way to the right there. "450 metres further on, back on the Chiltern Way bridleway here, having just ascended that incline. Lots of tree planting going on in here, which is good to see. Wonderful. Not sure who owns this wood, but I wonder if it's Forestry Woodland Trust. And at this marker post, which is exactly 4 miles from the beginning of the walk, so I'm reliably told, we take the left branch here, Chiltern Way, as opposed to straight on. And once again, this is a part of the walk that I've done previously many moons ago. Decent vista here, just ahead of the barns. Now on a previous walk I turned left here, I'm pretty sure, but today we're turning right. This is a pretty decent view here. Gives you an idea of how high up we are. So, I think I'm going to have my lunch, because there's no church on today's walk that's appropriately positioned, and I've spotted a bale of straw there that could well provide a decent seat. Yeah, plenty of rats in there, I'm sure, but they won't harm me. So 2 o'clock, that bale of straw is going to provide my lunch spot, and we're about 109 metres up here, so about 350 foot. 2:30, lunch has been had, time to press on. Bit late in the year for caterpillars, but there you go. If anyone can identify that one. Quite a furry beast. Decent vista as I descend. Wind's picked up now, it's chillier. About 13 degrees. Passing through Upper Gatehampton farm. That's just fallen out the tree, shot, fresh as they come. So here we are, we've got a real pheasant shoot. You're not doing any other birds, are you? Just pheasant?
Pheasant and partridge.
Yeah, pheasant and partridge shoot going on here at the minute.
I don't know. I think some went the other side.
So, countryside in action, so to speak. Anyway, luckily for me, I've got a 5-minute respite to get across this open access land. Well, that's quite amazing. I've just been identified by the gamekeeper organising that shoot on the strength of my voice. He asked me if I was the guy that filmed walks on YouTube, and lo and behold, yes I am. What a small world it is, eh? So it seems like although I don't get high viewing figures, I get a select audience. So I've got to be careful now. I'm easily recognised on my voice alone, it seems. Cracking view here as we approach Goring. So as you can see, we're now in South Oxfordshire, having left West Berks behind. We're now going down this little lane between the fences, apparently. Having left Hartslock Nature Reserve, which has some irony with all that shooting going on, behind us. So now we have a dog jumping event going on here. All goes on down this part of the world, shooting pheasants. Now dog jumping. Okay, there's the railway line ahead of us. I'm stood outside Pip's barn at this finger post here, just about to do a left back down towards the river, I believe. Looking back towards Hartslock Nature Reserve and whence I've come, from a point just near the railway line, just about to go under the railway line actually. The gate next to the double field gate is all smashed up at the moment, as you can see, or off its hinges. So when you come under the railway line, just continue straight ahead and do a right. I think that large Georgian house over there is called the Grotto, according to the notes. I think that's the one it refers to. Okay, now I've reached the John Barleycorn pub. John Barleycorn being a well-known figure of the countryside. Breakspear pub. Now the instructions suggest you go right here down Station Road for all the lunchtime stops, but obviously I've had mine, so I'm going to continue straight on to make up for the time I lost chatting to the gamekeeper, and see if I can get back on track that way using the GPS. It will, for example, mean missing a lot of the sites in Goring, including George Michael's last home, but so be it. It's been smashed up recently anyway by the former boyfriend. 2012 memorial to the Queen there, the village sign. Now joining the Thames Path at Goring Lock. And now while I film this, we've got the vote going on in Parliament, which I hope Johnson loses, because I want another election. Kick out those that haven't done their, performed their duty. Get a complete change in Westminster, that's what we need. Something better change. Information panel here about enjoying the River Thames. And then one next to it about Goring Lock, which of course these days you can Google as you enjoy watching this in your homes rather than being out here. And what a wonderful sight that is. River Thames next to a lovely bank up there. Autumnal colours. You can see why the likes of George Michael lived here, can't you? Top dollar. So this is Mill Cottage, the former home of George Michael, which is, as I say, his boyfriend smashed up recently inside. Seen from the Thames side, very pleasant place it is as well. Excellent conservatory there, sun deck. This is definitely a case of how the other half live. Lottery wins required. Despite that being pleasantly wooded on the right hand bank as I'm walking, you can still hear the hum of traffic through it and the occasional train. That's what the Thames is all about. I think that's a Buick, isn't it, with the orange beak. As usual, the mate is never far away. That's the barns where I had my lunch. Incredible. So as you can see, we're now walking through meadowland, water meadow specifically. Self-explanatory. Something singing there that I don't recognise. Got a bit of thrush to it, but as I previously noted with a thrush-like song, could equally be a nightingale. Wish I could see the thing. So I don't know what that bird was, but just to say that this is by far the muddiest section of the walk thus far, as you'd expect down by the River Thames. Just approaching the railway line again, as you can see ahead. So under this bridge, I wonder if that's got anything to do with Brunel. Goring is on the original GWR route, I understand, so could well have. Looks quite old. What a wonderful shot that is. Got an old pillbox there, very close to the railway line. As you can see, that's Gatehampton Viaduct. One to Google, I guess. See who built it. Come away from the river a little bit here on this section of the Thames Path. It's actually a bridleway I'm on now, but very decent. Not too muddy this bit because we're that bit further away from the river, and less people, more tranquil, and so forth. What a glorious afternoon, eh? Some lovely autumn colours over there. I've been recently reading an article about hedgerows and their importance to wildlife, as we all know, and how a lot of local authorities are decimating our hedgerows by cutting them incorrectly, i.e. the same height, with their machine-driven way of cutting it, so it stays the same height, it's gappy, and there's no vegetation at the bottom. This survey is being conducted by PETS, People's Trust for Endangered Species, and I've approached Hertfordshire County Council about the way they cut their hedges, which is atrocious. Exactly the way they shouldn't be cut, and more importantly, they're being cut at the wrong time of year, i.e. now, when all the berries are on the bushes and they're cutting them all off. So how the hell is wildlife supposed to survive the winter without any food supply? they're massively reducing the food chain by cutting the bushes at the moment, and all the berries are coming off. So that's why you're not seeing any birds in the countryside during the winter months. Field fares, etc., all struggling. Anyway, the bushes here, hedgerows here, I notice, are variable heights, got service trees on them, and a good thick base at the bottom. That's because that one's probably done by a farmer who knows what he's doing. This section of the Thames Path I've done before on a previous Pangbourne walk. On the previous occasion I did a right there at that finger post and went sharp up the hill. Another pillbox strategically positioned down there, guarding the Thames. Now I'm not sure how that's got here, but that's a pheasant's head. Nothing else but the head. So it hasn't been shot by gamekeepers as we saw earlier. So I've got no idea how that's got there. As there were no feathers round about that pheasant's head, could be of course that a kite or a buzzard, is probably a kite more likely, has picked it up near the scene of the crime, because we're not far from that shooting incident, and dropped it while flying over, or decided it can't do anything with it, dropped it. That's a logical conclusion. Looking over towards the hills of Streatley, wonderful evening. Interesting that the signage has changed to blue here from the normal yellow. Wonder if that's because it's a bridle way. Wonderful bit of walking this, I must admit. Do believe this is dogwood. Lovely in the sun there. Seems to me a local authority have been down this particular stretch of the path, cut the hedge, and there's nothing surviving other than the haws, sloes and hawthorn berries, all gone, but only the rose hips, sorry that's what I meant, seem to survive. And they're not very good for wildlife, my understanding is. Terrible. There's the old staircase. I remember going down that previously. This time I've had to get up it. 7 years older. Got another section of concrete walking along this driveway into Pangbourne. So here we are, back at Whitchurch. That's the path I took earlier. Now heading down back towards the bridge. For a 3.5 mile extension to Tilehurst, you can continue along the Thames Path by this West Berkshire sign, which is where we're now at. So, train's just pulling in. That was a wonderful 12.5 mile, I believe. Haven't got much time to say too much, but absolutely delightful walk, highly recommended, not too wet either. So until next time,